welcome to Lavonne's kitchen. For those of you who remember, I am in my daughter Crystal's kitchen and this is Crystal. Yeah, I made a trip down up here to Michigan and so I'm cooking in Crystal's kitchen and today Crystal's going to teach me how to cook chicken pot pie. This is her version of chicken pot pie. I'm going to help her, but basically she's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to introduce the ingredients and then we're going to go from there. So what I have over here is some potatoes that are diced. I have them sitting in a bowl of ice water. You know, when you cut up potatoes, they'll turn brown. So if you put them in ice water, that keeps them from turning brown. So those are sitting in ice water and as soon as we're ready to use them, we'll drain them. In this bowl, we have some onions, celery, and carrots. I have some butter, some chicken stock, heavy whipping cream, thyme, flour, olive oil, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and the star of the show, some diced, these are chicken thighs because it's a chicken pot pie, so we have chicken, but we are using chicken thighs, okay? So what I'm gonna do, oh, and for the crust, because it's a pie, we have puff pastry. I mean, you could have used regular pie crust, but you know, we get a little bougie sometimes. We try to use puff pastry because we want it to be fancy. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, season up this chicken with just half a teaspoon of each one of my 4 seasonings while Crystal goes and tells you what we're gonna do and how to do it. She's gonna show you.
So you saute the chicken, get that cooked, and then you work on the vegetables. So for the vegetables, we've got the onions, carrots, and celery. I'm going to heat up the pot to pan. Okay, so just add olive oil to the pot and the pan. The pan is for the chicken, and the pot is going to be for the vegetables. Let me get that nice and hot.
You see I got that glove on. When you doing certain things, you just don't want to stick your hands in it. Make sure you put glove on. So got that glove on. Okay, so my chicken is all mixed up. My oil is hot, and so I'm just gonna saute this in the pan. Okay, put a little at a time. You hear that sizzle? That's what you want to hear. And because it's diced up so small, it's gonna cook really fast. So let me hurry up and get all of this in here so I can go ahead and start stirring it. Kind of stir frying it. This won't take long to cook at all because the pieces are so small and the fire is hot. So if your pan is hot enough and your food is diced small enough, it won't take long to cook.
Okay, so while she's cooking the chicken, I am going to saute the vegetables. And the potatoes. I've already strained the ice water out. And then I'm going to season this with the same seasoning she seasoned the chicken with, just enough to taste.
A little salt, a little pepper, a little onion powder, and a little garlic powder.
You want to saute this for a few minutes until the onions and celery start to turn translucent.
Look at that. It's only been about 2 minutes, if that, and my chicken's almost ready. Okay. So the chicken is basically ready. Look at that. And you can smell that onion powder and garlic in here. It smells good already. So I'm gonna just go ahead, cut this off, set this to the side, and let Crystal do what she's doing. Let's see, let's cut this off. All right, I'm gonna set this to the side.
Okay, so our vegetables are cooked down a little bit. So we're going to add the chicken. We drained the excess liquid from the chicken. We're just gonna add that into the vegetables. We're gonna mix that in.
Ooh, that smells good. With that celery and onions and carrots, that smells good.
Okay, so now we're gonna add the butter.
Okay.
We're just gonna stir that until the butter is melted. And this looks like a lot in this pot, which it is because I am doubling the recipe. So the recipe will be in the description box. So you can, I'm gonna put it in for the 1 pot pie, but you can double it if you do more, because I think 1 pie will serve 2 people, depending on how much you eat.
I can already tell this is gonna be delicious. Just from the smell of it and what I'm seeing.
Okay, so now you can add the flour.
All of it at once?
All of it.
Okay.
We're just gonna stir that around and let it cook for about a minute to cook the flavor of the flour out.
Kind of making a roux almost. Okay. For you guys who didn't know, this is my youngest child. She's been cooking since she was born. This girl can burn. Like I said, she teaching me. What's next?
So then we're gonna take the chicken broth.
All of it?
All of the chicken broth. Stir that up so it soaks up that flour.
We have more.
So we're just gonna set the temperature to medium. And we're going to let this continue to cook for about 10 minutes.
Look at that, y'all. Ooh.
You want to watch it and make sure that it doesn't burn. Continue to stir it.
So what temperature is this? Like medium,
this
low?
This is on medium.
Okay.
You don't want it to really boil.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been cooking for about 5 minutes, so I'm going to add in the thyme and stir that in and let it cook for the remaining 5 minutes. Okay, so those 5 minutes are up. At this point, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. And then we are going to taste it to see if it needs any seasoning.
Ooh, be careful, it's hot.
Yes,
you
be
guys
very
know
careful.
Me. Yeah, you know me, I'm always burning myself.
It does need a little bit of salt.
Okay.
And maybe a little pepper.
She stuck that hot spoon in her mouth. I can't do that, y'all. Y'all know I be burning myself. I gotta blow it and blow it.
She has a very sensitive palate.
Need a little bit more pepper?
Yep.
That's right, I like spice. I like seasoning. There you go.
All right, we're gonna stir that up. All right, so now at this point, we are going to add our heavy whipping cream.
slowly. Look how thick that is. That flour is what thickened it up. When she made that roux basically with the butter and the flour, that's what thickened it up. Look at that. It's all creamy. Oh, it smells so good. Now that looks good.
All right, so after you stir this up, you're gonna let this cook for another 10 minutes and then we're going to put it in the pans.
Is it on? Okay, so while the filling is still cooking for the pie, Crystal has put down a cutting board and added some flour to it because she's going to get ready to start working with the puff pastry.
Okay, so we're going to take this puff pastry.
Oh, we don't have to redo it. Okay.
It already has a little flour. This is store-bought. So it already has a little flour, but I put down a little extra. I'm going to try to stretch it out a little bit.
I love puff pastry. It's all flaky.
Don't stretch it too hard or too far because you don't want to break it. You just want to make it big enough to cover the pan that the filling is going to go in.
Okay.
See, so I'm going to use the pan that we're going to use, and I'm going to put it over the top as my guide. I'm just going to cut around it. I'm just going to do a little extra so that it can fold over. So I'm just going to cut right around here. Cut that off.
I'm going to stir this while you're doing that. Okay.
Alright, so you can go ahead and grease the inside of that.
I'm gonna just spray the pan. So you just spray that a little so that it doesn't stick. Okay.
Alright, so now we're going to turn the filling off and we're going to add it into the pan. I want to let it cool for just a second, not too long, because we're just going to put it right in the oven. But you don't want to burn it. Okay, so I'm going to ladle this into here because it's really hot. You don't want to just pour it and have it splashing. I don't have a big enough ladle, so I'm just going to use a 1 cup. I'm using metal so it doesn't melt. You're just going to dig down in there, get the chicken, the vegetables, and the potatoes, and just...
And all that creamy goodness. Look at that.
Right in there.
Ooh.
You want to almost fill it up, but not to the top because you don't want it to boil over because it will bubble over. Grab some more. So that's about good. Almost full, but not right to the rim.
Because we've got enough to make another one. So while you're doing that, I'm going to fill up this other pan. Can I have that?
You can.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the puff pastry, shake off any excess flour, and I'm going to just lay this right on top. Just try to let it spill over the sides.
More?
If you have any fancy dishes, you can do like the personal size ones. I don't have any that were big enough or small enough. I just had really big ones and really small ones, so we're just gonna do the big one.
You know what would be nice too? You can do individuals for people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with COVID, some people like their own individual dishes, so you can make individual ones.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. I'm not making any fancy edges. This is not pie crust, so it breaks a lot easier. So you don't want to do that. But you do want to vent this, so you want to cut a couple holes in the top. I just normally do 4 holes.
And that'll allow it from coming up and spilling out of the edges and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then we take this, we're just going to put it on a baking sheet.
Okay.
Because if anything does bubble over, you don't want it sitting in the bottom of the oven. So I'm just going to put this a baking sheet.
Good idea.
And then we're gonna put this in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just check it. Everything inside of it is fully cooked, but you just wanna make sure that you cook the pastry on the outside. And you don't wanna have it in there for too long, so if it goes any longer than 25 minutes, you might wanna set it to broil to just cook the pastry on top. So we're gonna put this in the oven on 400 for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we're gonna check it, make sure it's okay, and if it needs to cook a little longer, we'll broil the top.
I don't know about you guys, but look at this. So I just want to ask you this, Crystal, because this looks like some soup to me.
Yep.
And if you got all this extra left over, couldn't we just eat this like soup? Because, oh my God, it smells good. It looks amazing.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I do that all the time. Because normally when I make this is actually my first time using the puff pastry. I normally use regular pie crust, store-bought pie shell, and then we use the roll-out pie crust over the top. And I normally always have extra. I'm not a pie crust fan at all, but I normally make it for my husband. He eats that part of it. I just like the filling. So I'll just dig around and I'll just eat the filling. So
let me ask you this. If I were to do this as a soup, because it's potatoes, it's almost like a potato soup, I could add things to it.
Absolutely.
I could add some bacon. I could add some corn. I could add some cheese. Oh my God. The possibilities are endless. Or you can just eat it like this, because this is delicious like this all by itself.
Yep, and it's fully cooked at this point. So you can eat it just like this. So lots of times I save some and I eat some.
Ooh, I'm thinking about the bacon and the cheese. I do bacon and cheese. Okay. All right, so that's gonna bake and then we're gonna taste? Yes!
Have you ever thought of the possibility of using biscuits?
Now we almost talking about some dumplings. No, it's got potatoes
not inside,
in there.
but like on top.
Oh, biscuit dough. I'm not real good with dough. If you guys seen my peach cobbler video, go check it out. I use Pillsbury pie crust dough, because I'm not real good at making dough. I'm gonna learn how, and then once I learn how, I'm gonna teach you guys.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, biscuits sound good.
You can try the Pillsbury biscuits on top.
All kind of ready-made types of dough sound good.
Yeah, because I don't like pie crust, so any other option. I haven't tried the biscuits, but I've been thinking about it.
I think that would be good, the biscuits, or some, what do you call those? The crescent rolls?
Just anything.
Okay.
Possibilities are endless.
All right, well, I'm gonna finish this extra one over here, pop it in the oven, and then get some plates ready for us to taste.
All right.
Okay, the time is up, and guess what? She's about to take it out of the oven. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, it didn't puff. Ooh, it puffed up. It puffed up. Ooh, ooh, look at that. Nice and golden brown. Ooh. I don't have no gloves on. Show it to them. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, look how puffy it is. Ooh, it's hot too. Yes. Look at that pastry. We had a lot of stuff in there because it's coming out of the sides a little bit, but that's why you poke those holes in it so not too much of it comes out.
And you put it on the baking sheet so if it spills, it's not spilling in the oven.
So do we need to let it cool?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna let it cool for a minute. We're gonna get our plates and forks and we're gonna be ready to dig in. Okay, so got me a bowl, got me a big old spoon, and I'm about to dig in. Oh, you can hear the, can they see this? Look how flaky this is. Look guys, look how flaky this crust is. Can you hear that? Oh my goodness. Oh, the smell of it. Look at that. Look how, hang on y'all. I'm gonna show y'all how flaky this is. You hear it? Anyway, let me get some more of the juiciness, all this goodness down in here. This chicken. I'm gonna do one more.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and taste it. So this is my first time actually having it with the puff pastry, so I'm actually gonna try it with that.
I love puff pastry. Look how crispy it is and how flaky, and you can see that air in it.
chicken.
I'm gonna let you taste first, because while you tasting, mine can be cooling off. I can't eat hot stuff. But I want it. It smells so good. Mmm. What you think?
Pretty good with the puff pastry.
How does that puff pastry taste?
It kind of reminds me of pie crust, but it's
Uh-huh.
not as dense. It's super light, super flaky. It's
Okay.
really good.
All right, let me taste it. Mmm. I love the puff pastry. But I can taste all those flavors in there. The onions, the celery.
The thyme is
Oh, the potatoes are good. The chicken is real tender. Ooh. Mm-hmm. This is good. Okay, well, I just put me a taste in here. Now it's time for me to go get me a real bowl full so I can eat my dinner. And I want to thank Crystal for letting me cook in her kitchen again, or her cooking and teaching me how to cook. And guess what? We'll see you guys next time in the kitchen. Bye.